In my earlier Apple II video, I showed you my personal Apple IIc, this machine, which was actually the first computer that I ever owned back in 1984. And it is broken. If you don't remember, or if you didn't see that video, I'll show that to you now. The monitor turns on, but the computer gives me this. Today I thought I would just make a short video about trying to fix this. I've got a couple different ways that I'm going to try to fix it. First one is going to involve just reseating some chips in the motherboard. We'll see what that does. I don't have a lot of confidence in that. So I've actually purchased, complete in the original Apple shipping box. Let's try and get this in focus. But this, you can probably guess, this is a brand new Apple IIc motherboard. Well, I don't know if it's brand new. It wasn't sold as brand new. It looks brand new to me. Here it is. Apple IIc main logic board. So if I need to replace this today, I will be replacing this, and you'll be able to watch me do it. I think that's all you need to do. It should just open right now. We'll see. Oh, there's always something. I've opened this thing several times, but I can never quite remember how to do it. And there we go. This keyboard could really use replacement as well, but I'm going to save that for another day. One nice thing about these early Apple machines is that they were extremely simple, and that was a testament to Wozniak. Steve Wozniak was a great engineer, especially for the early days of computing, and he knew how to keep things simple. And it's extremely easy to work on any early Apple machine, including the Apple IIc. Let me just try pulling a few of these chips, and I'll try firing it back up again, see what happens. These all come out nice and easy. And then just put them back in. Hope for the best. And one more. That's about all I see, so let's just try again. I doubt it's going to work, but we'll see. Okay, if this does work, I have just wasted $50, although it's always good to have spares, so let's see what happens. Nope. So we'll be doing the full motherboard replacement. Here we go. Okay. This is the first time I've actually removed the motherboard from this machine, so bear with me. I'm really not totally sure how to get it out, although I'm sure it's just a bunch of screws like anything else. So I'll just take out all the screws I see until the motherboard comes out. Oh, a tricky one. Okay, I assume there are some screws under the power supply that I'm going to need to disconnect that. We'll see about that. And I wonder if all that's holding in this power supply are these two screws right here. Not sure if you can see that, but let me just try taking those out and see what happens. All these screws appear to be the same size, which is great. Should remember where these go. Now, I think there's more under there, but that was holding the power supply in the case, so I did need to take those out. So let's see. One more hiding out here. There we go. That is my original Apple IIc main logic board. Now I'm having one of these old computer problems right now. I'm not sure if the camera can pick this up, but there's a little rubber bumper under the power supply that is stuck to the power supply. And it will not move, so I'm going to try and dislodge it here. Well, this is not thin enough. I'm going to need to get some other kind of tool. I'll be right back and try this out again. Finally got it undone with my lucky set of screwdrivers. Believe it or not, I've had this little set of screwdrivers with me almost as long as I've owned this computer. Somehow I have not lost any of them, and they always come through in a pinch. And I just had to scrape that off, so hopefully this just comes out now. We'll see. Yep. And it's entirely possible that the power supply itself is the problem, so we'll see once I replace the motherboard. If it still doesn't work, then the problem is the power supply. Either this power supply or the external power supply, but we'll see. And once again, the original board. It's always interesting to try to spot the differences between two otherwise identical boards. In this case, there's some obvious ones, but there's some others that, I probably can't see, but some of you might identify right away. One of the first things that I noticed is that I was probably off by a year in when I actually got my IIc. This chip right here is a copyright of 1985, it looks like, on the chip itself. So I probably got this computer in early 1985 rather than 1984. As both of those chips on each board, they both say 1985. It's just a copyright date, not a production date. But the interesting thing is the CPU is actually made by a different company. This is an NCR, this is a GTE. The memory chips seem to be made by a different company, although I'm not totally sure who made these, but they have a much bigger Apple logo on them and then a smaller MT. I'm not totally sure what that is. These are obviously Texas Instruments. And then beyond that, obviously you see the PCB is a different color. And other than that, I don't see too many differences. This board obviously does have a sticker that gives I guess is its production date of February 10th, 1986. So this is probably a slightly later revision. Apple IIcs do have several different ROM revisions, and I'm not sure if this one is going to be different than this one. I don't know which ROM revision I had originally, and after the whole thing went bad, I had no way to check it. So I'm just going to try to install this now, and we'll see what happens. As long as I've got the case apart, I figured I'd clean it at least a little bit. This probably has never been cleaned internally, so it's amazing how dirty things can get. I try to take care of my stuff, but dirt is dirt. Okay, so it's cleaner, so in the new motherboard goes. Just a little aside here, some people might consider it kind of cheating that I'm putting in a new motherboard on my first ever computer, but you know, it's not the motherboard that I feel like defines this computer for me. It's the whole experience, and really what I'm using and what I'm looking at when I'm using it is the outer case, and especially because, as I showed in my Apple video, I did the equivalent of carving my own initials into it in the form of a phone number of a girl that I liked at the time, so that's how I know it's mine. And, you know, the motherboard can be replaced. To me, it's still the same computer. Motherboard is back in, and all that's left to do now is just tighten the screws. Should be basically a brand new 2C at this point. So here's the moment of truth. One of the reasons that I actually kind of wanted to replace the motherboard is that there was another little problem with it which affected the video output. There were wavy lines on the screen. In the beginning I had to jiggle it to get it to stop, but at the end there was nothing I could do. So I'm actually kind of happy to replace the motherboard because that should fix that problem as well. Now if it doesn't work, I've got other problems, and that's probably the power supply. So let's just turn it on and see what happens. Sounds pretty good. I'd call that a good result. Let me throw in a disk and just make sure the programs still run on this thing. Flight Simulator 2, probably the game that I actually bought the Apple II for originally. Oh man, this keyboard is in need of help. Well, that's not good. Let's try a different disk. That's probably just a dirty head. That's no big deal either. Sky Fox in what appears to be a bloody sleeve. Oh man. Now, probably got a dirty head, so I'm going to try to fix that while we're at it, and I will be right back. Okay, so I've just removed the drive cage, and that gives us access to the drive head here. And I'm just going to take a little bit of alcohol on a Q-tip. And it doesn't look too dirty, so I'm actually a little bit worried about this, but we'll see. Well, we'll put it back and see what happens. That's the order of the day. We'll just see what happens. Once again. Believe it or not, that actually sounds good. That's what it's supposed to do. And here we go. Just a dirty drive head. Bad motherboard. I don't know what was wrong with the original motherboard. I am going to keep it, so because there could be spare chips on here that actually do work, and you know, someday another one of these might go bad, so I'll keep it around for spares, but I am very happy about this. Now, just one thing for any of you guys out there who need to do a repair like this, or who have a broken old computer or whatever, oftentimes you might be a little scared to try something out. Just really don't worry about it. These old machines, generally speaking, not all of them, but generally speaking, they're extremely easy to work on. If you have any sort of experience taking anything apart, find some tutorials on the internet. You'll be fine. This, I had no idea what was wrong with it. I just kind of figured out what I had to do and just did it. I don't have a service manual. I don't have technical manual or anything like that. It wasn't working. Easiest thing, replace the motherboard. Just a few screws. That's it. Drive didn't work. It's probably going to be dirty. Open it up, clean it. That's it. Perfect. So that's about it for now. This was just a short video this time, I know, but as I do these kinds of things, I do kind of want to make videos about them. They're interesting for me to make, and they're very satisfying. When you see something like this, this is my computer from my childhood, and I'm extremely happy to have it back. This is literally the first time I'm seeing it working again in probably 10 years. So, anyway, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.